The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between stars. It was bigger than most moons and filled with thousands of alien beings from across the galaxy. Today was the day of the Galactic Federation's annual Species Classification Review. Every species in the galaxy waited to hear their ranking, which would decide their trade rights, military duties, and how much respect they got from others. Jae-ho Kim sat alone in a corner of the Great Assembly Hall. He was Earth's diplomatic attaché, a quiet man who always wore simple clothes while other aliens dressed in fancy robes and armor. Around him, hundreds of different species talked loudly about their achievements and complained about their current rankings. The Krillian Empire's ambassador, a tall creature with purple skin and forearms called Veltarish, stood near the center of the room. His voice boomed as he spoke to a crowd of admirers. Our military conquered 3 star systems this year alone. We deserve to move up to Class 3 status at minimum. Other aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. The Zorvac Collective's representatives, insect-like beings with shiny black shells, clicked their approval. The Krillians showed true strength, one of them said through a translator device. Unlike some species that waste space in our great federation, Jae-ho pretended to read his datapad, but he was listening carefully. He had been to these meetings for 5 years now, and it was always the same. Everyone looked down on humanity. Earth was stuck at Class 15, the lowest possible ranking. The official description read, "Primitive agricultural world with limited spacefaring capability." Sora Park walked over and sat next to Jae-ho. She was a human scientist who studied how the galactic classification system worked. Her job was supposed to be research, but mostly she just watched other species treat humans like dirt. "How are you holding up?" she asked quietly. "Same as always," Jae-ho replied. "They act like we're not even here." Tae-min Lee joined them, his face red with anger. He was Earth's military liaison, though there was not much military to speak for. "I just heard the Zorvac talking about a proposal to remove Earth's protected status completely. They want to open our system for colonization by more advanced species." Sora's eyes went wide. "They can't do that. The Federation Charter protects developing worlds. The Charter protects worlds that show promise," Tae-min said bitterly. "They think we're hopeless." The Great Hall grew quiet as the Federation Council chairman took the stage. He was a Melaran, one of the oldest species in the galaxy, with pale blue skin and wise eyes. "Today we review the classifications of all member species. We will hear requests for reclassification and make decisions based on demonstrated progress." One by one, species presented their cases. The Hydraxian Collective showed off new quantum computers. The Solarian Republic displayed their latest weapons technology. The Arcturus Federation presented plans for faster-than-light communication networks. Each presentation got polite applause and serious consideration. Finally, the chairman looked at his list and called out, "Earth's representative, please present your request." The hall fell silent, then filled with quiet laughter and whispered comments. Jae-ho stood up slowly and walked to the small podium set aside for minor species. He looked out at hundreds of alien faces, most showing amusement or boredom. "Honored Council," Jae-ho began, his voice steady despite the mockery around him. "Humanity formally requests a review of our current Class 15 status. We believe our recent achievements warrant reclassification." Veltarish laughed loudly. "What achievements? Your species has barely left your home system. You have no significant military, no advanced technology, and your largest export is agricultural products. We have established colonies on Mars and several moons," Jae-ho said calmly. "Colonies of a few thousand people living in domes." A Zorvac representative clicked dismissively. "Children playing with toys." The chairman raised a hand for quiet, though he looked tired. "What specific evidence do you present for reclassification?" Jae-ho activated his datapad and images appeared on the main screen. They showed human settlements, small spacecraft, and farming operations. Everything looked exactly as basic as the aliens expected. "We have increased our population in space by 12% this year. Our agricultural output has grown by 8%. We have also launched 17 new research missions to study our solar system." The hall erupted in laughter. Even species ranked Class 12 and 13 were giggling at humanity's presentation. The Zorvac ambassador stood up. "Honored Chairman, I formally propose that we remove Earth's protected status. This species shows no real potential for advancement. Their system contains valuable resources that could be better used by more capable civilizations. Several other species voiced agreement. The Krillians nodded their foreheads in unison. The galaxy has limited patience for dead-end species, Veltarish declared. Earth takes up space that could go to promising new worlds. Sora gripped her chair so hard her knuckles turned white. Taman looked like he wanted to fight everyone in the room. But Jeho just stood calmly at the podium, waiting. The chairman called for a formal vote. All in favor of maintaining Earth's current Class 15 status? Most hands, claws, and tentacles went up around the room. The vote was not even close. Motion to remove protected status? The chairman asked. About a quarter of the species voted yes. It was not enough to pass, but it was more than ever before. Earth will remain Class 15 with protected status maintained, the chairman announced. However, the council notes growing concern about the species' lack of meaningful progress. We encourage humanity to show more substantial advancement before the next review. Jeho bowed respectfully. Thank you, honored council. Humanity will continue to work toward earning greater respect in the galactic community. As the session ended, aliens filed out of the hall, most ignoring the three humans completely. A few made rude comments about primitive species and wasted space. Veltarish walked past their seats and stopped. You should be grateful we allow you to exist at all, he told Jeho. Perhaps in a few centuries, if you work very hard, you might reach Class 12 status. Though I doubt it. The Zorvak ambassador joined him. Next year we will have enough votes to remove your protection. It clicked threateningly. Your system has resources we need. It would be better used by species that can actually accomplish something. After the aliens left, the three humans sat alone in the empty hall. The silence felt heavy and depressing. 10 years, Taman said quietly. 10 years I've been coming to these meetings, watching them treat us like pets or pests. The research data I've been collecting shows their technology is not as advanced as they think, Sora said. But it doesn't matter if no one listens. Jeho stood up and gathered his papers. He looked tired, like a man carrying a heavy burden. We keep doing our job. We file our reports, we attend the meetings, we smile and nod when they insult us. For how long? Taman demanded. How long do we let them walk all over us? Jeho looked at his colleagues with an expression they could not quite read. Until we don't have to anymore. As they left Nexus Prime and boarded their small transport ship, none of the aliens paid attention to them. Earth's representatives were invisible, forgettable, and completely harmless. At least that was what everyone believed. The transport ship's engines hummed quietly as it left the station. In the depths of space, far from alien eyes, other ships waited in the darkness, ships that did not appear on any official records, ships that belonged to a species the galaxy had seriously underestimated. Jeho looked out at the stars and allowed himself a small smile. The meeting had gone exactly as planned. Earth's Class 15 status was secure for another year. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn the truth about humanity. But not yet. Not until the time was right. The joke would continue a little longer. 3 months after the humiliating meeting at Nexus Prime, everything changed. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, hidden shipyards that had been sleeping for decades suddenly came alive. Lights flickered on in the darkness and massive construction arms began moving with purpose. Admiral Hyunwoo Choi stood on the bridge of the battleship Aegis, watching the activity through the main view screen. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes that had seen more battles than most aliens could imagine. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations, each one knowing that today marked the end of humanity's greatest deception. Status report, Hyunwoo said. All shipyards are online. Admiral, replied his communications officer. Deep space monitoring stations confirm no alien surveillance in our operational areas. We are clear to proceed. On Earth, in a bunker buried 3 kilometers beneath the Swiss Alps, Director Yoonji Song reviewed the files that would soon shock the galaxy. She was the head of the Terran Intelligence Network, an organization that officially did not exist. For over 80 years, her people had been watching, learning, and preparing for this moment. Ma'am, we have confirmation from all sectors, her aide reported. Operation Revelation is ready to begin. Yoonji nodded. She thought about all the years of careful planning. All the times human diplomats had smiled and accepted insults from species that considered themselves superior. Send the activation codes. It's time to wake up. Across human space, from the outer edges of the Kuiper Belt to hidden bases on the moons of Saturn, systems that had been dormant for decades began powering up. What the galaxy saw as primitive human settlements were actually camouflaged military installations. What they thought were simple mining operations were advanced weapons factories. Chief Engineer Dong-Hyun Kang stood in the main control room of Shipyard 7, one of 12 massive construction facilities hidden throughout the outer solar system. The place was enormous, capable of building hundreds of warships at the same time. For years it had been running at minimum power, building ships slowly and quietly. "Bring us to full production capacity," Dong-Hyun ordered. "All projects are now priority 1. His assistant, a young woman named Hee-Jin, looked nervous. "Sir, if we run at full power, alien sensors might detect us." Dong-Hyun smiled grimly. "Let them detect us. The time for hiding is almost over." On the bridge of the Aegis, Admiral Hunwoo received a priority message. The Zorvak Collective had launched a scouting fleet toward Earth. Intelligence reports suggested they were testing human defenses, looking for weaknesses before proposing a full invasion to the Federation Council. "How many ships?" Hunwoo asked. 50 vessels, sir. Standard Zorvak configuration. They should reach the outer detection grid in 6 hours. Hunwoo considered this. For decades, humanity had carefully managed first contact situations to make their technology look primitive. When alien scouts had visited before, humans had shown them old rockets and basic computers. The aliens had gone away convinced that Earth was exactly what it appeared to be. This time would be different. "Signal all ships in the defense grid," Hunwoo commanded. "This is not a drill. We are authorized to use full capabilities." Captain Boram Yoon received the message aboard her destroyer, the Indomitable. She had been waiting for this day for 10 years. Her ship and crew were ready to show the galaxy what human military technology could really do. "All stations, battle ready," Boram announced. "Today we stop pretending to be weak." Meanwhile on Earth, Sora Park sat in her laboratory, but she was not the simple researcher the aliens thought she was. Her real job was analyzing alien technology and finding ways to defeat it. Every piece of information that passed through the Federation networks was secretly copied and studied by human intelligence. The Zorvak use quantum-enhanced shields and plasma weapons, she reported. To the Defense Command, their tactics rely on overwhelming firepower and numerical superiority. They expect their enemies to be impressed by their technology. The Defense Coordinator smiled. They're about to learn that bigger is not always better. Far from Earth, the Zorvak scouting fleet moved confidently through space. Commander Jektal was excited about this mission. His species had been wanting to expand into human territory for years. The primitive Earth dwellers would make excellent slaves, and their planet had valuable resources. "Maintain formation," Jektal ordered his fleet. "Remember, these humans have never seen real military technology. A show of force should be enough to make them surrender." His officers clicked their agreement. The intelligence reports were clear. Humans had only basic spacecraft and no real weapons. This would be easy. They were wrong. The first sign that something was different came when the Zorvak fleet reached the edge of Earth's solar system. Their sensors detected multiple contacts, but the readings made no sense. The human ships appeared to be using technology that was theoretically impossible. "Sir," his sensor operator reported nervously, "I'm reading energy signatures that don't match our database. These humans, their ships are not what we expected." Jektal was not worried. "Sensor errors. Their primitive technology is probably interfering with our equipment. Continue the approach." But as they got closer, it became clear that there were no sensor errors. Human ships appeared around them, seeming to come from nowhere. They were sleek, advanced, and moving in ways that defied known physics. Captain Boram's voice came over the communication channel, speaking in perfect Zorvak language. "Attention, Zorvak fleet. You are entering protected space without permission. Surrender now and you will not be harmed." Jektal was shocked. How did these primitives speak his language? How were their ships moving so fast? "This is Commander Jektal of the Zorvak Collective. We are on a peaceful scouting mission approved by Federation protocols." "No, you are not," Boram replied calmly. "You are here to test our defenses before recommending an invasion. We know because we have been monitoring your communications for the past 6 months." The Zorvak commander felt the first touch of real fear. "Impossible. Our communications are quantum encrypted. Your encryption was broken by our computers 3 years ago," Boram said. along with everyone else's. Now, will you surrender, or do we need to demonstrate why that would be wise? Jektal made the mistake that would doom his fleet. He opened fire. The battle was over in minutes. Human ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will. Their weapons cut through Zorvak shields like paper. Their defenses absorbed the aliens' most powerful attacks without damage. One by one, Zorvak ships were disabled with surgical precision. Not destroyed. The humans could have done that easily, but carefully neutralized so the crews would survive. Commander Jektal found himself the captain of the only functional ship left in his fleet. Around him, 49 other vessels drifted helplessly in space, their crews alive but their systems completely shut down. "How?" he whispered. Captain Boram's image appeared on his main screen. She looked calm and professional, not at all like the primitive being he had expected to find. "Commander, you and your crews will be returned safely to Zorvak space. You will carry a message to your government and to the Galactic Federation." "What message?" "That Earth's Class 15 designation has been a choice, not a limitation. We have been protecting the galaxy from the truth about human capabilities. That protection is about to end." Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the battle reports with satisfaction. Not a single human ship had been damaged. Not one human life had been lost. The Zorvak, despite their reputation as fierce warriors, had been helplessly outmatched. "Send a full report to Director Song," he ordered. "The galaxy is about to learn what we're really capable of." Within hours, the surviving Zorvak ships limped back to their home territory, carrying news that would shake the foundation of galactic politics. The primitive humans of Earth were not primitive at all. They were something much more dangerous. In the depths of space, hidden human fleets began moving toward their assigned positions. The masquerade was ending. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would see humanity as it truly was. The joke was about to stop being funny. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Zorvak Collective's peaceful scouting mission had met with complete disaster. 49 of their best ships had been disabled by a handful of human vessels, using technology that should not exist. In the Zorvak home system, War Prime Ketnox slammed his four-clawed hands on the command table. His insect-like face twisted with rage and humiliation. "Impossible. These reports must be wrong. Humans are Class 15 primitives." The surviving commander, Jektal, stood before him with his head bowed in shame. "War Prime, I saw it with my own eyes. Their ships moved like nothing in our database. Their weapons went through our shields like they were not even there. You were defeated by agricultural equipment and mining ships," Ketnox hissed. "The entire galaxy is laughing at us." But as more reports came in from other species, the laughter began to die. Long-range sensors were detecting massive energy signatures from human space. Ships were moving in the outer solar system, ships that were bigger and more advanced than anything in the Federation fleet. The Galactic Federation Council called an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered at Nexus Prime, all demanding answers. How could a Class 15 species suddenly display such advanced technology? Ambassador Veltarish of the Krillian Empire paced angrily in front of the assembly. "This is clearly a trick. The humans must have stolen this technology or received help from unknown aliens. There is no other explanation." But fear was beginning to replace anger. If humans could defeat the Zorvak so easily, what else were they capable of? In Zorvak space, War Prime Ketnox made a decision that would doom his entire species. "We will not be humiliated by these primitive creatures," he declared to his war council. "We will launch a full invasion of the human system. 10,000 ships, our entire battle fleet. We will crush these insects and take their stolen technology for ourselves." His advisors tried to argue. "War Prime, perhaps we should investigate further before—" "No!" Ketnox roared. "The entire galaxy is watching. If we do not respond with overwhelming force, every minor species will think they can challenge us. We attack immediately." The largest invasion fleet in Zorvak history assembled at their main military base. 10,000 warships carrying 2 million soldiers, prepared to teach humanity a lesson about respecting their superiors. The fleet was so large it could be seen from neighboring star systems. On Earth, Director Yoonji Song watched the Zorvak fleet movements from her underground command center. Her intelligence network had been tracking the enemy preparations for weeks. "They're really going to do it," she said to her staff. "They're going to attack us with everything they have." Admiral Hyunwoo Choi joined the meeting by secure video link from his flagship. "How do you want to handle this, Director?" Full response? Yunji thought carefully. For 80 years, humanity had hidden its true strength to avoid causing panic in the galaxy. But the Zorvak were forcing their hand. Admiral, you are authorized to use whatever force is necessary to protect Earth. But try to limit casualties. These beings are ignorant, not evil. Understood, ma'am. What about revealing our full capabilities? It's time, Yunji said quietly. The secret was always going to come out eventually. Better that it happens on our terms. In the outer solar system, the human defense fleet took positions. Captain Boram Yoon commanded a battle group of advanced destroyers. Elite pilot Wu Jin Park led a squadron of fighters that used technology decades ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. Tactical Operations Commander Hana Lim coordinated the defense from her command ship. But the humans were vastly outnumbered. The Zorvak brought 10,000 ships. Earth's defense fleet numbered only 200 vessels. The galactic news networks prepared to broadcast what they expected would be the complete destruction of humanity. Species across the galaxy gathered to watch the primitive Earth dwellers get what was coming to them. They were about to witness something very different. The Zorvak invasion fleet dropped out of faster than light. Travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. War Prime Ketnok stood on the bridge of his flagship. The massive dreadnought swarms vengeance. Around him, thousands of ships spread out in attack formation. Look at their pathetic defense, he clicked with amusement. 200 ships against 10,000. These humans are either insane or suicidal. His tactical officer was studying the sensor readings with growing confusion. War Prime, their energy signatures are unusual. I cannot identify their ship classes or weapon types. It does not matter, Ketnox replied. Numbers will decide this battle. Begin the attack. The Zorvak fleet charged forward, expecting to overwhelm the human defenders through sheer numbers. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for generations. Captain Boram's ships moved like dancers, weaving between enemy formations with impossible grace. Their weapons fired beams of pure energy that cut through Zorvak shields and armor like a hot knife through butter. Each human ship seemed to be fighting with the power of 10 enemy vessels. Pilot Wu Jin led his fighter squadron in an attack that defied everything the aliens knew about space combat. His small craft moved faster than missiles, appearing behind enemy ships and disabling them before the Zorvak could even turn to face them. Impossible, War Prime Ketnok screamed as his sensors showed hundreds of his ships being destroyed or disabled every minute. They are only primitives. How are they doing this? Commander Hana's tactical display showed the battle progress in real time. The human fleet was systematically destroying the Zorvak invasion force while taking almost no damage in return. Target their command ships, she ordered. End this quickly. The Zorvak had brought their most powerful weapons, their most advanced shields, their most experienced crews. None of it mattered. Human technology was so far ahead that the battle was not even close. It was like watching adults fight children. Within 2 hours, 8,000 Zorvak ships had been destroyed or disabled. The survivors tried to flee, but human ships were faster. They could not escape. War Prime Ketnox found himself alone on the bridge of his flagship, his entire fleet either destroyed or drifting helplessly in space. Around him, his crew lay unconscious, overcome by some kind of non-lethal human weapon that put living beings to sleep without harming them. Captain Boram's image appeared on his communication screen. She looked tired but not angry. War Prime Ketnox, your invasion has failed. Your fleet is destroyed. However, most of your crews are alive and will be returned to your territory. How? Ketnox whispered. You are primitives. You cannot possess such power. We are not primitives, Boram replied calmly. We never were. Our Class 15 designation was a choice we made to protect the galaxy from the truth about human capabilities. A choice you have now forced us to abandon. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched the battle footage in stunned silence. The species they had mocked for decades had just destroyed the largest military force in recent galactic history. And they had done it easily. The Federation Emergency Council convened in panic. Ambassador Velterish was pale with shock. This changes everything, he said. If humans can do this to the Zorvak, what can they do to the rest of us? Fear replaced contempt as the galaxy realized they had been living next to a sleeping giant, a giant they had just helped to wake up. On Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo reviewed the battle reports. Human casualties, 0. Zorvak casualties, minimal thanks to the use of non-lethal weapons wherever possible. The message had been sent clearly. "What now, Admiral?" his communications officer asked. Hyun-woo looked out at the stars where the wreckage of the Zorvak fleet drifted in space. Soon, representatives from across the galaxy would be demanding answers. The time for hiding was over. "Now," he said quietly, "we deal with the consequences. The galaxy knows what we are capable of. The question is, what are they going to do about it?" The answer would determine the future of every species in the galaxy. The destruction of the Zorvak invasion fleet sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Within hours, every major news network was broadcasting footage of the battle. The images were impossible to believe. Primitive human ships dancing between massive alien warships, destroying them with weapons that seemed to bend the laws of physics. On Nexus Prime, the Federation Council met in emergency session. The Great Assembly Hall buzzed with panic as representatives from hundreds of species demanded answers. How had humanity hidden such advanced technology? What else were they capable of? And most importantly, what did they plan to do next? Ambassador Veltarish of the Krillian Empire stood at the center of the chaos, his forearms gesturing wildly. "This is an act of war against the entire Federation. The humans have been deceiving us for decades." "Deceiving us about what?" asked the Altarian delegate, a tall bird-like creature with intelligent eyes. "About being more advanced than they appeared. Since when is that a crime?" "Since they used that deception to spy on us," Veltarish roared. "Who knows what secrets they have stolen? What plans they have made?" In the back of the assembly hall, Jae-ho Kim sat quietly in the same simple clothes he always wore. But now, other delegates were staring at him with fear instead of contempt. The quiet diplomat they had ignored for years was suddenly the most important person in the room. The Federation chairman called for order. "We must hear from Earth's representative. Jae-ho Kim, please approach the podium." As Jae-ho walked to the front of the hall, the silence was complete. Every being in the room watched him with new eyes, wondering what other surprises humanity had in store. "Honored delegates," Jae-ho began, his voice calm and steady. "I know you have many questions about recent events. Before I answer them, I have an announcement to make. I am not actually a diplomatic attaché." Gasps echoed through the hall. "My real name is Jae-ho Kim, and I am a senior intelligence operative for the Terran Security Council. For the past 5 years, my mission has been to observe Federation politics and assess potential threats to Earth." The revelation hit the assembly like a bomb. The quiet, humble diplomat they had dismissed was actually a spy who had been watching them all along. Veltarish was so angry he could barely speak. "You have been lying to us for years." "Yes," Jae-ho replied simply. "Just as you have been planning to invade weaker species, steal their resources, and enslave their populations. The difference is that our deception was designed to protect others. Yours was designed to harm them." Before anyone could respond, the main doors of the assembly hall opened. A woman walked in wearing the formal robes of a Federation ambassador, but with symbols that no one recognized. She was tall and confident, with the bearing of someone used to command. "Allow me to introduce myself," she said as she walked to the podium. "I am Mi-young Seo, Earth's actual ambassador to the Galactic Federation. I apologize for the deception, but it was necessary for galactic security." The hall erupted in chaos. Species representatives shouted questions and accusations. The chairman banged his gavel repeatedly, trying to restore order. Mi-young waited patiently for quiet, then activated a holographic display. "I am here to present evidence that Earth has been acting as a protector of smaller species for over 60 years. Evidence that will change how you view recent events." The display showed star charts, battle reports, and diplomatic communications. As Mi-young spoke, a pattern emerged that shocked the watching delegates. "The Solarian attack on the Vegan colonies 5 years ago," she said, highlighting a section of space. "It was stopped when their supply lines were mysteriously cut by space pirates. Those pirates were human special forces." More images appeared. The Krillian expansion into the Outer Rim territories. It ended when their survey fleets encountered equipment failures that forced them to retreat. Those failures were caused by human intervention. The Zorvak slave raids in the neutral zone. They stopped after several raiding fleets simply disappeared. We know where those ships went. They are being held in human detention facilities, their crews safe but unable to continue their crimes. With each revelation, the assembly grew more stunned. Species after species realized that events they had attributed to coincidence or bad luck had actually been human operations. The Altarian delegate spoke first. You have been protecting us. All this time? Not all of you, Mi-young replied, but many of the smaller, weaker species that larger powers like to prey upon. Yes, we have been protecting them. A new voice cut through the murmur of conversation. She is lying. Everyone turned to see another human walking into the hall. This one wore a military uniform with insignia that marked him as a high-ranking officer. He was followed by a small group of other humans, all carrying themselves with the confidence of professional soldiers. I am Sung-ho Huang, Strategic Military Advisor to the Terran Defense Council, the newcomer announced. Ambassador Seo is not telling you the whole truth. We have not just been protecting smaller species. We have been preventing major wars. He activated his own holographic display, showing different star charts and battle plans. 3 times in the past decade, large-scale conflicts were about to break out. Wars that would have killed billions and destroyed entire civilizations. The first image showed the Krillian Empire's military buildup near Zorvak space. 2 years ago, the Krillians were planning a surprise attack on the Zorvak homeworld. The attack was cancelled when their advance fleet encountered technical difficulties that left them stranded for weeks. By the time they were rescued, the moment for surprise had passed. Another image appeared. Last year, the Centauri Alliance was preparing to invade the Vegan system over mineral rights. The invasion was called off when their intelligence reports suggested the Vegans had suddenly acquired advanced defensive weapons. They had not. We simply fed false information into their spy networks. Sung-ho looked directly at the shocked delegates. The galaxy has been more peaceful in the past 50 years than at any time in recorded history. You attributed this to the wisdom of the Federation Council and the maturity of advanced species. The truth is that humanity has been working behind the scenes to prevent conflicts before they could start. Ambassador Veltarish was shaking with rage. You had no right, no authority. The Federation Council makes decisions about war and peace, not some primitive species. The Federation Council? Mi-young laughed bitterly. The same council that just watched the Zorvak prepare to invade and enslave an entire species, without lifting a finger to stop them. The same council that regularly ignores genocide and slavery, as long as it does not threaten major powers. The accusation hit home because it was true. The Federation was supposed to protect all member species, but in practice it only protected the strong. Sung-ho continued his presentation. We tried working within your system. We filed reports about Zorvak slave raids, Krillian territorial violations, and Solarian resource theft. Nothing was done, so we took action ourselves. Without permission, Veltarish shouted. Without permission from a council that does not care about justice, Sung-ho replied coldly. We do not need your permission to protect innocent beings from criminals. The chairman tried to regain control of the meeting. This is unprecedented. The implications are staggering. Earth has been operating a shadow military force throughout Federation space. Not shadow, Mi-young corrected. Hidden. There is a difference. Everything we have done has been legal under Federation law. We have the right to self-defense, the right to assist allies, and the right to protect our citizens anywhere in the galaxy. Your citizens? The Altarian delegate looked confused. Jae-ho smiled for the first time since entering the hall. Over the past 60 years, humanity has signed mutual defense treaties with 237 species. Most of them are what you would call minor powers, species that the major empires ignore or prey upon. The room erupted again as delegates realized the implications. If humanity had treaties with hundreds of species, then their recent display of military power was not just about defending Earth. It was about defending a secret alliance that included nearly half the galaxy. You have been building an empire, Veltarish accused. We have been building a family, Mi-young replied. A community of species that believe in protecting each other instead of exploiting each other. And now that our existence is no longer secret, we have a choice to make. She looked around the hall at the hundreds of watching aliens. Fear, anger, and uncertainty showed on every face. The Federation can accept that humanity is not what you thought we were. You can work with us to build a better, more just galaxy. Or... She did not finish the sentence, but everyone understood the implication. The galaxy had just learned that the species they had been mocking was actually the most powerful military force in known space. And that force had allies everywhere. The choice was theirs. But humanity would no longer pretend to be weak. The masquerade was over. The Federation's response came 3 days after the revelation at Nexus Prime. It was not negotiation or diplomacy. It was an ultimatum delivered by the largest military coalition in galactic history. Admiral Veltarish commanded the combined fleet from his flagship, the massive Krillian dreadnought Eternal Glory. Around him, over 100,000 warships from 12 different species filled the space between stars. It was the largest military force ever assembled, representing the combined might of every major power in the galaxy. Citizens of Earth, Veltarish broadcast on all frequencies. You have violated the trust of the Galactic Federation through decades of deception and unauthorized military action. You have interfered with sovereign government operations and built illegal weapons of war. The Federation Council has voted unanimously. You will submit to immediate inspection and disarmament, or face the consequences. On Earth, Prime Minister Sung Min Choi stood in the emergency command center buried deep beneath the Swiss Alps. He was a calm man who had led humanity through many crises, but never one like this. Around him, military leaders and intelligence officers waited for his decision. Fleet Admiral Bay, what is our military status? He asked. Fleet Admiral Eugene Bay studied the tactical displays. She was humanity's most experienced military commander, a veteran of dozens of secret operations across the galaxy. Sir, we have over 300,000 vessels in position. Our allied species have contributed another 200,000 ships. The Federation fleet is outnumbered almost 5-1. Casualties if we engage? Minimal on our side, sir. Their technology is 50 years behind ours, but their losses would be massive. We are talking about the death of millions of beings. Sung Min considered this. Humanity had hidden its strength to avoid exactly this situation. Now they faced a choice: submit to disarmament and foreign occupation, or reveal the full extent of their capabilities in a war that would reshape the galaxy. Sir, interrupted Intelligence Director Yoon-ji Song, we are receiving priority communications from across Federation space. Over 400 species are requesting immediate military assistance from Earth. Species we have treaties with? Some of them. But others are governments that have never had contact with us before. They are asking for protection from the Federation fleet. Sung Min understood immediately. The smaller species of the galaxy were terrified. If the major powers could assemble such a massive fleet to attack humanity, what would stop them from using it against anyone who opposed their interests? Through the observation windows of his flagship, Admiral Veltarish could see the edge of Earth's solar system. His sensors showed scattered human vessels, but nothing like the numbers they had expected. Perhaps the primitive species had finally realized they were outmatched. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we are detecting additional ships entering the system. Multiple vectors. The human reserve fleet? No, sir. These are not human vessels. I am reading ship designs from the Vegan Republic, the Altarian Confederacy, the Outer Rim Alliance. Dozens of different species. Veltarish felt the first touch of uncertainty. How many ships total? Still counting, sir. Current estimate is over 500,000 vessels. The number hit the Admiral like a physical blow. 500,000 ships? That was impossible. The entire Federation fleet numbered less than 200,000 vessels. On Earth, Prime Minister Sung Min received an update from Fleet Admiral Bay. Sir, our allied species are arriving faster than expected. Current count is 520,000 ships, with more arriving every hour. All species we have treaties with? No, sir. We are receiving support from governments we have never had formal contact with. They are volunteering to fight alongside us. The communication board lit up with incoming messages from across the galaxy. Species that had never spoken to humans before were offering military support, supply lines, and safe harbor. The revelation of humanity's secret protection of weaker civilizations had inspired something unexpected. Hope. Diplomat Jin Ai-ko, who specialized in interspecies relations, reviewed the messages with amazement. Sir, we have offers of support from over 800 different governments. Some of them are single-planet colonies with only a few ships, but others are regional powers with significant fleets. Why? Sung Min asked. Why are they willing to fight for us? Because we fought for them, sir. For decades, we protected species that could not protect themselves. Now they want to return the favor. Admiral Veltarish watched his tactical display with growing alarm as more and more ships appeared around Earth. His Overwhelming numerical advantage was disappearing by the hour. Worse intelligence reports suggested that human technology was far more advanced than they had realized during the Zorvak battle. "Sir," his communications officer said nervously, "we are receiving a transmission from Earth's government. They wish to speak with you directly." The main screen activated, showing a middle-aged human man in formal diplomatic robes. Prime Minister Sung Min looked tired but determined as he addressed the Federation fleet. "Admiral Veltarish, I am Sung Min Chue, Prime Minister of Earth and elected representative of the Terran Alliance. I am authorized to speak for all human settlements and our allied species." "You will surrender immediately," Veltarish demanded. "The Federation will not negotiate with criminals and spies." "Admiral, you are facing over 600,000 warships crewed by beings from nearly 1,000 different worlds. Are you certain that battle is your preferred option?" The number was staggering. 600,000 ships? That was 3 times the size of the entire Federation military. Sung Min continued. "For 80 years, humanity has worked in secret to prevent wars, stop genocides, and protect innocent civilizations from aggressive powers. We did this quietly without seeking credit or recognition, because we believed in justice over glory. You violated Federation law." "We saved Federation lives," Sung Min replied calmly. "But if you insist on war, we will give you war. And when it is over, the galaxy will be a very different place." Behind the Prime Minister, Fleet Admiral Bay stepped into view. Her uniform bore the insignia of humanity's true military rank structure, symbols that no alien had seen before. "Admiral Veltarish, you command 100,000 ships using technology from 50 years ago. I command over 600,000 vessels equipped with weapons and defenses that your scientists cannot even understand. Your crews are brave, but they will die for nothing if you attack us." Veltarish realized he was facing an impossible situation. His intelligence reports had been completely wrong about human capabilities. The species they thought was primitive had built the largest military force in galactic history, and they had done it in secret. "What do you want?" he asked finally. Prime Minister Sung Min's expression softened slightly. "We want what we have always wanted, Admiral. Peace, justice, a galaxy where the strong protect the weak instead of preying on them." A new voice joined the conversation. "Perhaps we should listen." The transmission split to show another figure, the Altarian delegate from the Federation Council. Behind him, representatives from dozens of species appeared on screen. "I am speaking for the Coalition of Minor Powers," the Altarian announced. "We have withdrawn our support from the Federation military action. We will not participate in an attack on the species that has protected us for decades." More voices joined the conversation. The Vegan Republic, the Outer Rim Alliance, the Centauri Confederacy, and dozens of other governments announced their withdrawal from the Federation fleet. Admiral Veltarish watched in horror as his coalition crumbled. Ship after ship broke formation and moved away from the battle zone. Within hours, his massive fleet had shrunk to less than 20,000 vessels from only 3 species: the Krillians, the Solarians, and the remaining Zorvak forces. Prime Minister Sung Min made one final offer. "Admiral, you can return to Federation space and report that Earth is willing to negotiate a new galactic charter. A charter based on equality and mutual protection instead of the current system that favors the strong over the weak." "And if we refuse?" Fleet Admiral Bay answered that question. "Then you will face the consequences of attacking nearly 1,000 allied worlds. Your 3 species against the rest of the galaxy. That is not a war you can win." Veltarish looked at his tactical display. His remaining ships were hopelessly outnumbered and outgunned. Around Earth, the largest fleet in galactic history waited for his decision. "What terms do you offer?" he asked quietly. Prime Minister Sung Min smiled. "The same terms we have always offered, Admiral. Justice, protection for the weak, and a chance to build something better than what we have now." 6 months later, the new galactic charter was signed on Nexus Prime. The old Federation Council was dissolved, replaced by a representative assembly where every species had an equal voice regardless of their size or military power. Earth's classification was changed from Class 15 to Protector Status, a new designation that had never existed before. Humanity openly took responsibility for defending smaller civilizations and preventing aggressive wars. The galaxy was not perfect. There were still conflicts and problems, but for the first time in centuries, the weak had someone to defend them, someone who had proven they would fight for justice instead of conquest.